That heifer right there, they don't even care.
Save yourself now.
Action.
Hey y'all.
What do you say, folks? Hope everybody having a fine Sunday evening. I got to figure out why the flag ain't up there again. But,
Oh, that's awesome, Mike. He got to hold his great-grandson today.
man, yeah.
Isn't it great-grandson?
Congratulations, y'all. Got some pictures from Danae, or she sent to Hannah today, showing us the progress of their grandbaby.
He's so pretty.
So, congratulations, everybody on that end. Everybody kind of moseying on in here. Appreciate y'all. Let me see. The room is through. Let's see. I'm trying to give everybody a little time to get in here before we get too carried away this evening, because we're going to have a continuance of last week.
If y'all didn't get the hint in the thumbnail.
I was trying to put a little hint out there. Didn't know if anybody got it, but I'll just say this much. There's some interesting stuff about it, if you will. You can make your own mind up about whether Mr. Langstroth is, done wrong. But there will be a cliffhanger on it as well. So, like I say, in the description, I hope folks have got their number 2 crayons, construction paper, ready for class.
A lot of time.
Because we got something this evening.
Even though he still ain't got a professor suit.
No. And like I said in the description, either you're going to walk away confused as all get out, or you might pick something up out of it. Because there's 2 parts. But we'll get into that in here just as shortly. But let's see, we got folks moseying on. Oh, yeah, everybody getting on in here. Holler at everybody real fast. Jack and Denise, good to see y'all. Mr. Dennis Sherrill, good to see you. Mike Tangway, good to see you. Mr. Randy, you as well. Chris, he's filming up there in that fine country. Mr. Russell Amon. Whoa. I done jumped way ahead on me now. Where was that there? Phillips in here. Hallelujah Beef Farm. Pastor Larry, Miss Jan, Miss Leona. Good to see y'all. Clay, good to see you, Captain. All right, now I'm back on track. This thing bouncing around all over the place.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not cooperating.
It ain't wanting to. Eric, good to see you, man.
Keep up with
everybody getting on in here. Collector Rick.
Like at one time.
Lee, Kodiak Farms.
He be supporting tonight.
Showing up. Doggone. All right.
And Mr. Dan, I thought next weekend was Palm Sunday. I done lost a weekend somewhere.
Sure did. She had me messed up this week with it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, hey, ain't Easter next weekend? No.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. I was wrong.
I was like, all right. But, yeah, I guess while we let y'all take a vote if y'all want to do a live chat Sunday night, or just everybody kind of take it easy and
thing for Easter.
Yeah, you're doing it.
No, a lot of them got new grandbabies and great grandbabies.
That's it. So, tell you what, if y'all will, real quick, let me know, yay or nay, live chat next week. Majority wins. All right.
Thumbs up from Lee.
All right. 1, 2, Eric said yeah. All right. Chris?
And that ain't even the dumbest mistake I made this week, Eric.
Oh, I got a good one for y'all.
Mm,
All right, we got 4. No nays.
well,
All right, we'll carry
I gotta
on.
vote one more people come in.
There we go. All right, Pastor Larry and them said yeah. Brian and Jen, good to see you, sir.
He was
And ma'am.
supporting everybody tonight.
All right. Everybody's saying pretty well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we don't come down with no ailments or nothing like that, I imagine
Hmm.
we should be all right. So we'll look forward to it. And,
Maybe we can get Pastor Larry and Miss Jan to come over here.
maybe so. Try to do that with
Keep the tradition going.
yeah.
Because I really enjoy that.
That's it.
I think everybody does.
We'll reach out to Pastor Larry and speak to him and see if he's up for it. And yes, if you're around, I know you're at your space station.
It
It's
was on there
going.
before he hit the go live button.
I know, but it will not let me smash the button.
That's crazy. As soon as you
Thank
hit
you, Lee.
go live, it takes the flag down.
I don't know what it's doing and why it's doing that.
Is Lee or you, that Lee's in the back? Okay. Oh, you're gonna get
You better
in
hurry,
trouble.
Philip. Yep. Okay, got us going. Thank you much, Lee, on that, because I don't know why it does that. But
I didn't even pay no attention.
But I will say, whenever I was tinkering around with all that stuff a while back, I found the AI on
Y'all
the
remember
platform.
him finding the AI.
I was going crazy with all the stuff there for a minute. But I went back not too long ago on this particular platform's AI thing, and I went to type in Gaston flag. And I was going to do something else with the Gaston flag. But undoubtedly, the Gaston flag is considered a form of hate, we'll say nowadays. This and that. So it won't produce the Gaston flag anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So
and it surprises you?
It does not surprise me one bit, kind of thing. But
it infuriates you.
It did fire me up, type deal.
Oh, Dennis. It's like one of those bittersweet moments. He's so proud of him, but you sure don't want to let him go.
2 months for an empty nest, man. So
You ain't gonna know what to do with yourself.
no, go fishing. In between your beekeeping, go fishing. Grayson, good to see you, bud. Appreciate you dropping by, man. Yeah, we kind of just rocking on along like everybody else now. Rodney, talked to him a little bit. He got on the cutout. I imagine some of y'all seen his newest video on that. But that little old colony, I say it's a little old colony, they built out nice and heavy.
Mm-hmm.
That swarmy cutting out around that hardy board, this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And then about 4 or 5 minutes before we smashed the like button, I was trying to get it downloaded, but you got to go through bells and whistles and this and that, access, yes and no, and so on and so forth to upload a picture, undoubtedly. But
he couldn't push the buttons like that.
My fingers were getting jumbled. But he got on another swarm. Let me see. I'll at least try to get the picture up here on the phone to y'all. See if you can make anything of it. Yeah. Uh-oh. Let me unplug this in here real quick.
He's all tied up.
But the man done went and picked another one up this evening. Swarming the tree. Let's see, what did the thing say? I see.
Somewhere.
In Bowling Springs, South Carolina, where he got it from. And the Spartanburg Beekeepers Association, I guess, has a Rodney. If he's in here, he can explain it exactly what it is, but it kind of looks like a it's not a book of faces or anything like that, but yeah, I guess like a website. There we go. A little bit better. But undoubtedly, got a website around there to where they can get a hope to you, this and that. Oh, Rodney's just starting out on, a normal year, you know what I mean?
He's only up to like 22 by now.
Yeah, he's behind a little bit, I think, as far as his average. Y'all know what I'm saying? That man just kills it every year. Every year. But
he's a professional.
Hey, I tell you, look, Rodney's got a good knack for things, especially them trap outs. He's probably figured up just about every way imaginable to do them trap outs, whether it's in a tree or brick or concrete, whatever the case may be. The man most likely has a way to do it. Definitely a good individual to learn from if you want to do them swarm traps or catching them in any kind of way. But, I'm thinking about some dinner. Blaine ain't made it in here. He may be eating supper before he gets in here. If he does, but when we get to the food session later on in the programming, we made a little something today that somebody sent to us, my oldest brother.
Oh, we did.
And I was like, she said, "You want to try that?" I was like, "I think so." She said, "Well, pretty much I'll make a deal with you in so many words. You go to the store and I'll make it. Deal." But boom, boom, made it. And actually, it wasn't too doggone bad. I definitely want it when we do spaghetti or something like that instead of just some regular garlic toast. But we'll get into that too in a little bit when we all get to munchies.
Be disaster.
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen him in a minute.
Well, good to see you, be disaster. Yeah. Oh, don't give me telltales. I can't remember what state everybody's in. Trying to look through here, see if I missed anything.
No, I didn't have any bacon. And I knew we couldn't eat both things.
Who was asking that?
Lee.
Oh,
that's awesome. Everybody's getting new grandbabies these days.
Did I send you, Lee, did I just send you one video or two this morning? Because if I sent you the second one, it ain't the bacon one, but it's the other one that we made. But if I didn't send it to you, I'll send it on to you here in a little bit.
Yes, Danae, chicken fried bacon was the other recipe.
Well,
I ain't gonna lie, it looked pretty good, but it looked like a heart attack waiting to happen.
Well, I guess there's a little bit of fibbage in there because there's no chicken.
No, it's chicken fried.
Chicken fried. What?
You batter and fry bacon the same way you would chicken. You dip it in egg wash and then flour, seasoned flour, cornmeal, whatever. They only use flour, but I always use cornmeal if I'm seasoning something to fry. Like 2-to-1 cornmeal to flour. Well, there's PJ.
Yeah.
It looked good. Like it honestly, I ain't gonna lie, it looked good. But I was just like, ooh.
Let me get back to the disaster there. Said, "Hello, been busy. I'm still around. New granddaughter Congratulations on that. Just bought a house. Been doing some traveling. That's what I'm talking about right there.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody's getting new grandbabies.
Man, yeah.
Chicken fried anything sounds good.
Well, it's down to 1 gallon. You had a bad summer and winter. You still have 1 gallon. Or still have bees. Well, hey, good thing about it, we're early in the season. Get them swarm traps up when you can. And then split off whatever you can there at the house and get built right on back up pretty quick.
You got time. Season's just getting started.
That's it. You want to do the prayer list, and we'll get into what we got for some learning this evening.
Some schooling.
Well, we're gonna get through the controversy first, kinda.
Yeah.
Between Langstroth and I had to see the name again. What I was calling Dr. Z last week.
Zierzen or Zierzen something.
Zierzen.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, we got Mr. Martin, Miss Crystal, Mr. Pat, Miss Deb, Mike Tangway and his family, DC's mama, Philip's mama, his friends BJ and his wife, our favorite Miss Leona, Steve Amos's father-in-law, PJ Hanley, Sarah and her family, Mr. Randy's mother-in-law, Miss Janae Wood, Kenneth and Chris Wilkinson, Redfish's wife, Miss Janet, Kenneth Allen, Rodney Middleton and his family, Darren Garrison's daughter, Miss Jolynn, Clay Bunner's grandbabies, Keith Larimore's cousin, Russell Amon's wife, Miss Brenda, Lee's mama, Miss Brenda Johnson, Keith Barnhill and his family, little Emma Hoskins, Greg Dunn, Bill Kent's mama, Russell Koopman's granddaughter, Tim's brother Jamie, Mr. Dan and his church, Shawee, Jen's dad, Gary Stewart, Castle Hives Brian and his family, Blaine's great nephew, Sarah said take her off, Mr. Dan's nephew, the Terry Harris family, Haley Baker, the Murray family, Lee's cousin Stephanie, all our nation's service members, Shauna and her family, James Knoll, Keith Larimore's mama, my brother Jacob, James Pell, Justin Jenkins, Bucks B's wife, Allie Baker, Marty from Yes Honey, baby Luca's parents, Zach and Kiera, Lee's wife, Miss Renee, DC's friend Bree and her daughter Ivy, Danae's daughter Sakura and the new little grandbaby, Jason, his family, Jack's Uncle Mike, Mr. Russell Amon's cousin Ricky, Clay's daughter Allie, Sarah's son-in-law, and Tim's mama, Miss Mary.
We probably take Mama off there, I guess.
Yeah. Did you tell Bill that?
Yeah.
Oh.
And Buck B come in. We got your wife on there, Captain, most definitely.
Yes, she is on here.
And
Everything's going okay with her? I know that chemo can be brutal.
Indeed. Those are some words to live by. So let's be thankful for what we do have. We are all blessed.
Well, I know that.
Yes. I want to say thank y'all for the prayers on our end. I went back to work this week, and God God love her, this wife of mine. Once again, brag on you women, you helpmates out there. But my mama had a doctor's appointment pretty much literally every single day this past week. So Hannah took care of that and made sure.
Which I was glad most of them were them running tests, trying to figure out what's going on with her. So I sure didn't mind.
But nothing really crazy out of it. The only deal that they kind of come up with is just her potassium dropped so quick, and it potentially put her heart in a irregular rhythm for a moment. But they got her up. All her blood work's good. All her everything else is good. To be 78 years old, buddy, she's
in
healthy.
Stellar condition is what the doctors keep telling me.
So thank y'all, you prayer warriors out there.
Absolutely.
And I mean that for the list all around kind of thing. So there's many on there, and we try to name everybody off on our Sunday chat, and there ain't no way to remember each and every name, but we just ask the good Lord to remember our prayer list, and He knows everybody that's on there. So thank y'all on our end, and to the ones of you praying for everybody else.
That's it, Mr. Dan.
That's goodness. And, nothing. I was just trying to go through these comments real fast.
She said Mr. Dan come and take his nephew off. They made it back in port safe. And he's got a month or so before he leaves for another whatever he caught, patrol or whatever.
Up in the Arctic?
In the Arctic.
Good grief.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it matters, but good thing the hemisphere is getting closer to the sun. That we tilt on the axis as we spin around and around. We get closer to the sun, and it gets warmer as the angle of the sun comes down from the north to the equator. That's good. Without me getting it, blowing y'all's mind with some astrology stuff this evening.
Some big fancy words.
Yeah. I mean, I knocked it out the park. Yep.
Oh, no. Babe Ruth.
Okay. Now, let's get to what everybody come in here for. Conflict.
That ain't what we're really looking for.
Well, the world of the world of platforms, that's what draws your attention to these things. It's like NASCAR. You watch it. I
don't want this algorithm to start attracting drama. Okay. That's my problem.
Well, the good part about it, there's enough of everybody in here that y'all are moderators, get the trash and put it in the trash kind of thing.
Controversy.
See?
Is that supposed to be a softer word, Brian?
Not with an exclamation point.
Yeah.
The man hit the arm of his chair. Controversy.
Yeah. Like a Ricky Ricardo tone.
Okay. Last week, what did I do with it here? Okay. Let me burn up another few more minutes real quick before I forget about this. But the other day, we was headed out. Well, I'm going to get to controversy, I promise. This may even cause some right here live. But we was headed out to go look at a job or something the other day. What did we? No, but when I come home the other day, we had to go do something. I had to go to church.
Take Dad's boat.
Oh, take the boat back. All right. But anyway, before we headed out, Haney Boo here's got her coffee, and she said, "I heard the words I need to warm this up. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm getting my tea in my mason jar for the ride we got to take here in just a little bit. So I unplug everything around this house. It's just one of my OCD things. Everything, if it's got a light,
it's unplugged.
If it draws electricity and we ain't here, besides the refrigerator and air conditioning, I'm unplugging it.
Literally, the refrigerator, the stove, and the air conditioner are the only things that stay plugged in this house when we're gone.
So she reaches over there, boop, boop, plugs the microwave in. Granted, just a few seconds before that, she tells me I got to warm this up. It's like, okay.
Look, let me ask y'all a question. Okay, if somebody's walking around with a cup of cold coffee in their hand and the words come out of their mouth, I'm going to warm this up, hold your answer to yourself. But what would you assume? Okay, now continue your story.
Yeah. So, she hits some buttons on the microwave. It fires up, and here it goes, spinning all around this and that, happy as it can be, burning up electricity. So, it dings. It's done with its 30 seconds. She opens it up, and I hear her say, I didn't put my coffee in there.
I set my cup on the counter. That's how tired I was. No joke. I'm still exhausted. I set my cup on the counter to plug in the stupid microwave that my sweetheart unplugged. And I never put my cup in the microwave. But he caught it. He thought me saying I need to warm this up was me saying I need to warm the microwave up before I put my coffee in the microwave. I was like, it never crosses your mind to say something when you see me walking around in that kind of sleep delirium and you know I didn't put anything in that microwave. I could have blown the sucker up in the kitchen that morning on the way to take his mama back to the hospital.
I did question it.
He questioned it in his head, but them words never come out his mouth. Like, baby, are you awake? Like, did you realize you didn't put your cup in there? Have y'all ever heard of somebody warming up a microwave to put something in it?
That's what I thought it was a new trick. I was thinking, well, get the microwave warm.
A coffee trick. Like, it's going to give you more of a kick if you do a warm-up run on the microwave before you put your cold coffee in there.
Yeah, so that's why I didn't say nothing or question. I was looking and watching what was going on, and I was thinking to myself, well, maybe she knows something I don't know, this or that.
No, then, I was operating on, like, torture levels of sleep at that point.
So that's it, Danae. Exactly. I thought that to myself too. I was like, well, should I say something? She's probably just going to be like, yeah, this or that.
It depends on how you say it. If you say, hey, stupid, you didn't put your cup in, yeah, I'm going to get mad. If you're like, honey, did you forget something there? At least, stop the microwave so I don't kill the microwave.
Well, then, to finish all that off, her daddy just got him a nice little small boat, something for him to go fishing with a little bit here and there.
I'm just here to monitor the situation.
Thank you, Mr. Dan. Oh yeah.
My God. That's hilarious. That's like the comment.
So, on our mission this day, as we're going out the house, there's something wrong with the trolling motor on this brand spanking new boat that her daddy got. So, we hook it up. Naturally, I plug the pigtail in for the brake lights and all this good stuff. Well, for some reason, it won't work on the Hummer. It works on everything else. The trailer works on ours. We'll be put it to the Hummer.
Should have took the microwave fiasco as a sign. But that definitely should have been the second sign.
So, I went with the gray area. I had a plan if we got stopped for no brake lights on a brand new boat. we're taking it back to get it fixed, and this is one of the problems, officer. That was my story, and I was sticking to it. Well, we get over there, and we pull up to Bass Pro Shop, and
you have to be politically correct on a public platform. A sales associate comes outside. Okay.
hey, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Comes trotting across the parking lot over there.
He was in a female's uniform outfit.
Hey.
And yeah, he comes out and he flips a breaker on this stupid boat. And he walks away. And that's it. We just drove 80 miles.
Sure, I mean, yeah. Interstate and everything else.
Stupid boat. The air conditioner went out in the car. It's 85 degrees. And he flips a stupid breaker.
It's like, you couldn't tell us over the phone?
Boy, I will wring your neck like a chicken. No joke. You better run back inside. Like, oh my gosh, I was living.
We got home safely, ended our day. Okay, now the controversy. That's just a day in our life. Yeah, we always got something.
That's just a single afternoon. A single afternoon.
All right, last week, some of y'all, is Keith Larimore in here? I seen Blaine moseyed on in.
I hadn't seen him.
Okay.
That's one of the great debates, Brian. I think he'd mask Google. How do you pronounce, is it Zierzen or Zierzen? Or Desires? I don't know.
I'm going to call him Zierzen.
It's a her, though. It's Jan.
No, that's what I thought, too. You're getting ahead of the subject before we even get started on it.
Shoot, we ain't even trying, Mr. Randy.
Undoubtedly, there's accusations back in the 1880s that old Langstroth stole the idea from Johanna Zierzen.
Okay. This Brian said it. Jan. What we're saying, Jan, is pronounced yawn.
Yawn. Oh well, the English language messed me up on it. Okay, Jan Zierzen come up with the idea of, or figured out bee space first, undoubtedly, from studying some other cat from Germany in the I got it on here somewhere, but somebody made that accusation in the American Bee Journal back in 1880 saying that Langstroth took Zierzen's idea
and stole it
and profited off of it.
Hey, Mr. Dan said you're pronouncing it correctly.
Zierzen?
I guess so.
Okay. Hang on, let me shut this door for mosquitoes. Everybody get through here.
You seen that skeeter hawk come in, didn't
you?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I've seen mosquitoes the last couple of days too. Okay. All right. So, all right. Allegedly, Langstroth took Zierzen's idea. This and that. And somebody wrote a big old fuss about it in the Bee Journal back in the 1880s. Mm-hmm. And
conniption.
Had a conniption. One of the statements made by this individual says, such insinuations are both infamous and unpardonable. So, in so many words, Jubal just farted like a grown man. I don't know if the microphone picked that up or not, but
I'm sure it did.
Said it is a crime, thus maliciously charged with fraud, lying, and stealing a man who has done so much for the advancement of scientific apiculture and spent his life in its study and development. Okay. That was back in the 1880s. And everybody kind of got a little fired up about it in the chat last week. What is that there? You have to read it to me. I'm away from the comment.
Renee said, geez, Hanny, don't blame the dog. Continue.
Yes. So, rocked on a little bit. And I was like, well, let me check into who this cat is that Langstroth allegedly
stole
from this and that. And dude's name,
I think
Johann Zarzen. The man, let's see, he was a Polish apiarist who discovered the phenomenon of parthenogenesis. Genesis in bees. Zarzen. All right, let me tell y'all what that is though, real quick. Well, it gets into it a little bit down here. Long story short on a lot of it, without me reading every single thing about him, I'm just going to read some key points and facts about the man. Zarzen come from a Polish family. He was trained in theology. He combined his theoretical and practical work in apiculture with his duties as a Roman Catholic priest before retiring from the church. And apparently there was a little controversy there with the Catholic Church for a little while, but they kissed and made up. Then it says Zarzen came from the upper, what was that again?
Silesia, I think.
Okay, somewhere in Poland, and parts of it are in the Czech Republic, and this and that, I believe, is what it said. But it said he was born into a family of ethnic Polish background, which did not speak German, but they spoke that type of dialect of the Polish language. Let's see. Then he went to school for a little bit. Pardon me. Said he became acquainted with the German scientific and literary language, which he subsequently used in scientific writings rather than his own native Polish dialect. He said he did use some of the Polish dialect in some publications, but apparently he did most of it in a German language. Zarzen's manuscripts, letters, diplomas, and original copies of his work was given to a Polish museum by his nephew, Francis Zarzen. Following the 1939 German invasion of Poland, many objects collected with Zarzen was destroyed by German forces on December 1st, 1939, in an effort to conceal his Polish roots. The Nazis made strenuous efforts to enforce a view of Zarzen as a German. The life of a man. Zarzen was born the 16th of January, 1811, in the village of Lokowitz, somewhere in Poland, where his parents owned a farm. He completed Polish elementary school before he was sent to Protestant school located a mile from his village. In 1882, he moved to Warklaw, where he attended middle school. In 1833, he graduated from some university because all this is German names and published stuff. I'm not even going to try to, what was that Larry Moore said, if you're going to pronounce them wrong.
Blaine said the Polish polish silver with a polisher and then have Polish hot dogs for dinner. Say that 3 times.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to try. In 1834, he became chaplain of some kind of Schwitz.
In Schalkowitz.
See what I'm saying?
But she said some kind of witch.
Witz,
Witz.
W-I-T-Z, not
Okay.
witch. Sorry.
I couldn't understand.
In 1835, he was ordained as a Roman Catholic priest. He took over a parish in Karlsmark, where he lived for 49 years. Okay, now we're getting into the beekeeping stuff about him. In his apiary, Zierzan studies the social life of honeybees and constructed several experimental beehives. Okay, this is way on back here before Langstroth.
This is what year? 1833?
Roughly. Yeah. Constructed several experimental beehives, possibly using ideas from Pedro. We're just going to call him Petro. Widely publicized. Yeah. There's people's names are like this long. But we're going to say Petro. Widely publicized developments. In 1838, he devised a movable comb beehive, which allowed manipulation of individual honeycombs without destroying the structure of the hive. The current distance between the combs have been described as 1.5 inches from the center of the top bar to the center of the next one. In 1848, Zierzan introduced grooves into the hive's sidewalls, replacing strips of wood for movable top bars. The grooves were 8 by 8 millimeter, the exact average between 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch, which is the range called the bee space. All right, so apparently he's the original dude to come up with bee space. All right, we're building a little bit here.
Eric said so maybe Langstroth developed and improved a previous idea.
Class, don't get ahead of it.
You told me to let you know because you're not looking at the chat.
Such designs quickly gained popularity in Europe and North America on the basis of aforementioned measurements. Augustus Adolf von Berlispech, it's just whatever that dude's name, and some other dude, and L.L. Langstroth, October 1852 in the United States, designed their own movable frames. Okay, I got some pictures of, let me put these, I forgot about that. It's not. Like this piece of junk. We're going to get there, y'all. They're in.
He promises.
I promise. Okay, here is Zierzan. If it'll show. Okay, that's him. He's an old man in that picture. But here's one of the first original designs of his hives. Okay, this is before Langstroth. Frames look the same. Boxes are pretty close to what you would have
got a front porch with a roof
nowadays. This and that. Yeah, the way they built them and set them up. I'll show y'all what Langstroth had here in a minute. And there is the. If it'll show it.
Slow down. Be patient.
I'm trying to be patient with this thing.
And running all the way down all the way.
It's showing it in the pictures.
You gotta snap it then.
StreamYard.
He's gonna put his phone, send y'all flying across the room.
Well, it's a piece of junk.
It's defective.
It is. All right. Anyway, moving on from that picture. Said in 1835, Zierzan discovered that drones are produced. All right, this is the man that discovered drones are produced from unfertilized eggs. Zierzan's paper published in 1845 posed that while queen bees and female workers were products of fertilization, drones were not, and that the diets of immature bees contributed to their subsequent roles. His results caused a revolution in bee crossbreeding and may have influenced Gregory Mendel's pioneering genetic research. The theory remained controversial until 1906, the year of Dzierzon's death, when it was finally accepted by scientists at a conference in Marburg. What we got?
Mr. Dan said, without this information, how will Philip earn his merit back?
Well,
I hope he watches the chat when he watches.
That's what happens when you skip the class. Get him there.
That's hilarious, Mr. Dan.
All right, and it goes on, talks about they honored him and they got a statue of him up there, this and that. So on and so forth. So before Langstroth, all right, let me see if I can find that one part where he said he got his idea, possibly from 1873 to 1902. Dzierzon was in contact with the Old Catholic Church, but they had a problem back then. Something in the church. They kicked him out, but
Thought you said they kissed and made up.
they did. They made up some years down the road, undoubtedly. Said the Catholic Church forgave him for.
What did he get all those medals for?
Beekeeping. Okay. All right. That's just kind of a rough idea on who Dzierzon is. Now let's get into who in the world was Langstroth, so on and so forth. Just real quick. Then we'll put it together. L.L. Langstroth. You asked the other week. I knew his first name, had no idea what his middle name was. Lorenzo Lorraine Langstroth. So if you see L.L. Langstroth, always remember Lorraine. All right. Let's see. Lorenzo Lorraine Langstroth was an American apiarist, clergyman, and teacher who has been called the father of American beekeeping. He recognized the concept of bee space, a minimum distance that bees avoid sealing up, although not his own discovery. The use of this principle allowed for the use of frames that the bees leave separate, and this allowed the use of rectangular frames within the design of what is now called the Langstroth hive. Okay, let's see if it'll pop up Langstroth picture on it. Nope.
Be patient.
I'm being patient.
No.
Okay. StreamYard, will you pretty please put this picture up for us?
I said be patient, not a smart aleck.
It ain't gonna put it up there. Okay, moving on from that. That just fires me up, aggravates snot out of me.
I feel it.
More
paint's trying to tell you.
I know. So tell me it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
The early life of Langstroth. He was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on December 25th, 1810, the second of 8 children in a family of English descent. Even as a boy, he showed keen interest in insects. He graduated in theology from Yale Divinity School in 1831 and subsequently held a tutorship there from 1834 to 1835. After this, he was pastor of various congregational churches in Massachusetts, including the South Church in Andover, Massachusetts, in May of 1836. In 1838, he visited a friend who kept bees and became interested in beekeeping. From 1843 to 1848, he served as a pastor of the Second Congregational Church in Greenfield, Massachusetts. A large granite maker was made in the place of the church's front lawn by national beekeeper E.F. Phillips and others in 1948. In 1848, Langstroth became the principal of a young ladies' school in Greenfield, Massachusetts. All right. The contributors of beekeeping, the leaf hive invented in Switzerland in 1789 by Franciscus Huber, was a fully movable frame hive and had solid frames that were touching and made up the box. The combs in this hive were examined like pages in a book. Who was that said something last week about that? Philip, the one that's skipping class right now? I mentioned that. Langstroth read the works of Huber and Edward Bevan and obtained a Huber leaf hive in 1838. Langstroth acknowledged Huber's contribution and noted, the use of the Huber hive has satisfied me that, with proper precautions, the combs might be removable without enraging the bees, and that these insects were capable of being tamed to a surprising degree. Without knowledge of these facts, I should have regarded a hive permitting the removal of the combs as quite too dangerous for practical use. Quoted Langstroth on the honeybee hive in 1860. The development of bee space, Langstroth was properly credited for discovering the bee space, though this discovery had already been implemented in European hives. Discovery was that if a gap of 7 to 10 millimeters, a quarter of an inch to 3/8 was present, bees did not close it with wax. This allowed movable frames which could be kept free of each other. In Europe, both Ziersen and Augustus von Berlspach had been focused on side open hives. Land resources in Europe had limited, and bees were traditionally kept in bee houses. The idea of bee space had been incorporated by Augustus von and Ziersen discoveries from the years of 1835 to 1848 into his frame arrangement. Langstroth had made many other discoveries in beekeeping and contributed greatly to the industrialization of modern beekeeping. Langstroth revolutionized the beekeeping industry by using bee space in his top opening hive in the summer of 1851. He found that by leaving an even approximately bee space between the top of the frames holding the honeycomb and the flat cover, he was able to remove the cover board quite easily, and which normally cemented to the frames with propolis and made separation difficult. Langstroth later used this discovery to make the frames themselves easily removable. If a small space was left in a quarter of an inch or 6.4 millimeters, the bees filled it with propolis. When a larger space was left, more than 3/8 or 9.5 millimeters, the bees filled it with comb. Then it says in 1851, he created something called improved bar hives, where he used bars at the top of the hive to suspend combs. And it just kind of rocks on a little bit more about the in-depth history of him doing all this and that. Said in 1853, Langstroth had moved back to Greenfield, Massachusetts from Philadelphia and published The Hive and the Honeybee, Northampton, Massachusetts. Hopkins Bridgman, 1853, which provided practical advice on bee management, and after more than 40 editions, is still in print today. Langstroth on the Honeybee was published in 1860. Let me get back here some of y'all's comments real quick. I hear her carrying on out there. I might have to get you to come back in here and break these comments down for me. I'm kind of lost on that. So, leading up to all that, Zyres made a type of frame. I wish it would show the doggone picture. I don't know what I did.
Brian wants to know what type of puff versus Jasper.
Well,
Wayne wants to know if the bees use metric or imperial units.
that's a good question. I'll have to ask some of them scouts out there that we've been seeing. Well, think about that. Try to remind me of that on them scouts. What's been happening with that? So I rocked on and asked, did Langstroth steal the idea from Zyerson? Wordage is everything. I'll put it like that. It said it's more accurate to say that Lorenzo Langstroth built upon and adopted the work of Zyerson rather than simply stealing it. Mm-hmm. Langstroth. Yeah, just makes it sound better, I guess, especially nowadays. Langstroth was aware of Zyersen's earlier groundbreaking research and credited it, but Langstroth is recognized for applying the concept of bee space to a practical top opening hive design. Zyersen's contributions, Polish apiarist. Zyerson developed a movable comb hive in 1838 using side open hives, which utilized the concept of bee space to prevent bees from cementing combs to the hive walls. He also discovered that bees leave a space of 1 to 1.5 inches from center to center of their combs and applied 1/4 of an inch to 3/8 of an inch of bee space in his hives in 1848. That was Zyerson. Langstroth's innovation. In 1851, Langstroth developed a top opening hive that utilized the same 1/4 inch 3/8 bee space on all sides of the frame. This made the frames much easier to remove than Zyersen's side opening fixed wall hives. Acknowledgement. Langstroth was aware of Zyersen's discoveries through, among others, Samuel Wagner, who translated German works, and Langstroth spoke highly of Zyersen's work. The difference, while Zyersen, along with others like Petro, discovered the principle of bee space, Langstroth's specific application of that principle to a top opening hive with fully removable frames is why the Langstroth hive became the standard. In essence, Langstroth is considered the father of American beekeeping because his design was more easily adapted, not because he acted in malice or anything along those lines. So,
Wayne said, he said, I made it better. This one has my name on it. Larimore said, the first one to video gets the credit. And then Blaine said, I just appreciate him figuring all this out before we had to.
I wish it would pull up that dog because I had a cliffhanger picture for y'all, but it will not let me pull up these pictures. Jasper. Now it's going to do it now. Okay, there's Langstroth. Now that's finally trying to work. He don't have any medals like Zyerson there. But now, it won't let me do the cliffhanger. But anyway, apparently during all this with Zyerson and Langstroth, Daydant is in the mix of them designing a removable frame and stackable box. Had no idea Daydant was in the picture anywhere with any of it.
Eric said he almost has them rolling aliens.
Who does? Langstroth or ours?
Everyone almost has them rolling.
All right, let me get in here and see what y'all clowning about real quick. Oh, All right, Blaine's one there said, I made it better. This one has my name on it. That's pretty much, I guess, what it boiled down to as far as the American portion of beekeeping. Once again, like Larry Moore's idea, first one to video it gets the credit. And I'm glad too that they figured it out, Blaine, so we don't have to go through the whole fuss of what hive is what and who. But we just had to clear the air on, did Langstroth steal the man's idea? But no, he just took a little bit of it, made it better. I'm gonna say so. What are you thinking, Jasper? Langstroth take it or not? Well, you tell people about it. Okay. Moving on to another little piece. This kind of, we getting into modern times, yesterday in our world. I'm going to talk a little bit about swarming, but it ain't going to be the same old swarming, I guess, if you will. And the reason it was brought to my attention was observing the bees out there. I think we had mentioned last Sunday that a swarm had moved in and they had occupied a box out there that was already occupied. Now, there was a little bit of fighting going on. There was a few dead bees, so on and so forth. But I don't know if we have two queens or not. And the reason I'm saying that is I went and added a super the other day. But what I'd done is I put, well, I guess you really wouldn't consider it a super, but I added another 10 frame deep to this colony. And they was already 10 frame double. But I just took my top box, kept it as my top one. The new stuff, I just put it in the middle. So there's bees on top, bees on the very bottom. The box in the middle is freshly waxed foundation. I don't know if our queen was upstairs and she's still up there from the original colony, and this swarm just so happened to mosey in there. But either way, they moved in on this one colony. Now, I don't know if the Great Battle has went down or not, but undoubtedly, there has been a virgin that come in that swarm. And what kept throwing me off was we'd go out there every other day or every third day, and they were swarming again. But nobody was leaving. We sit there and watch them 10, 15, 20 minutes, and they all swarming right there around the box. And you can see them coming back into the box, moseying back out. But most of them was still in this swarm event, I reckon the best way to call it. And like I said, each time they done this rocked on about 10 to 20 minutes. And then everybody settle on back down, go into the box. But there was nobody swarming out. I'm thinking, what in the world are they doing?
They're confused.
They would confuse the mess out of me because I was like, well, I mean, is this a cat swarm? Did the first queen, did she head out, this or that? All kind of stuff was running through my mind. But for anybody new, I'm just going to kind of run over this real quick. Then we'll get into what I hope I finally figured out. And I guess it's a common sense thing, but I never really thought of. And I hadn't heard anybody really speaking of it in any of the other chats. And I was talking to Rodney the other day about it, just kind of running things through him. And we was just chit-chatting back and forth on this. But for anybody that's new, first-year beekeeper, what is a bee swarm? Bee swarm primarily as a natural method of reproduction to create a new colony, usually in spring when the beehive becomes overcrowded. Roughly half of the workers and the old queen leave to find a new home, leaving behind a new queen and the remaining bees to manage the original hive. Reasons for swarming can be overcrowding, typically is the most common deal for why the bees are swarming, this or that. To carry on a new lineage, or not really so much considered swarming, but in a sense they are swarming. You have an abscond, so on and so forth. Then curiosity got the best of me. Was if a virgin queen comes in, whenever she goes out, will she bring a swarm back with her? And according to the research, says no, virgin queens do not bring back a swarm after mating flights. While a virgin queen may be occupied by a small cloud of drones, which there were several on the ground dead after each one of these swarms going on in our yard down here, may be occupied by a small cloud of drones or workers when leaving for a mating flight. A pheromone, sometimes called a mating swarm or flight, she returns alone to the hive she was born in to start laying eggs. Mating flights. Virgin queen typically flies out to mate with the drones in the air and returns to her original colony, usually within a few seconds or a few minutes. I'm not so sure about the seconds or the minutes. I'm going to say several minutes. From my understanding, they'll fly on out a good piece. I think one of the articles I read said, well, like up to 2 miles or something like that. After swarms, a virgin queen can leave with a secondary swarm after swarm if the hive is crowded or if multiple queens hatch, but this is a permanent migration to a new home, not a return trip from a mating flight. The behavior, a virgin queen will fly on her own, mate with drones from other hives, and return alone, now appearing heavier to begin her laying cycle. So, okay, we know that if a virgin goes out, she ain't bringing a whole big old swarm back with her every time. She's going out pretty well by herself, mating, coming back. For the most part, you may have a couple of drones lagging behind her, then they end up dying pretty much as soon as they get to the colony. But then this is what my next question was to myself. And this was more of the common sense of, well, I guess so. But so do queen bees do orientation flights at their new location? And it says yes. And I've never thought about a queen bee doing an orientation flight. But undoubtedly, this is what's going on. It said yes, queen bees do take orientation flights specifically when they are newly emerged virgins or when a colony has been relocated. Those short circular flights, often referred to flight school for bees, allow them to memorize the new locations, landmarks, and GPS coordinates to ensure they can all return safely from the mating flights, ensuring the colony's survival. Now, what?
Your dad said they saw you watching and didn't want to hurt your feelings about leaving your prime equipment, so they went back to the
Well, I greatly appreciate them because they've done this. How many times have they swarmed like that? 3? 3 or 4? And it's been the same thing. But yesterday I actually went down and sat and watched them. And like it says, everybody was just doing little circular motion. It wasn't like if y'all watch them swarm out of a box, you hear that loud roar, hum, and they're kind of up and gone. They wasn't doing this by any means. They were obviously swarming. You had your loud hum, the whole everything to identify a swarm, but they were all just kind of, it looked like a really huge orientation flight is what it looked like. But undoubtedly, whenever the queen comes out to do an orientation flight, it will draw out like a mini swarm, if you will. So it says these short circular flights, often referred to as flight school for bees, allow them to memorize the new locations, landmarks, and GPS coordinates to ensure they can return safely after mating flights, ensuring the colony's survival. Key aspects of queen orientation flights: purpose, to map the hive's location to prevent getting lost on subsequent more dangerous mating flights. Behavior, she, along with young worker bees, flies in winding circular and figure eight patterns, often facing the hive entrance initially. And that's exactly what they was doing. It was like a big, huge orientation flight, but obviously a swarm. When does this occur? Generally, this occurs in the days preceding her first mating flight, a few days after emerging. Or if you're at new locations, if a hive is moved, which bees will naturally perform an orientation flight at the new site, which that's, I guess we can kind of take that one out because we're concentrating on the queen. We know they'll do an orientation flight whenever you move them to a new location, pretty much immediately. As soon as you open up your entrance, boom, here they come. 45 minutes later, you watch them, and you already start seeing everybody doing orientation flights in front of the hive. So these flights are often mistaken for swarming, but they are generally calmer, shorter lasting, about 15 to 20 minutes, and involve bees facing toward the hive versus everybody headed out and not looking back kind of thing. And most definitely what we had going on. Then it got into the queen bee's little entourage, the retune, or the retu, is that how it said? RETINUE. Google said it different. Y'all pronounce it there. Read and you, something like that. But in the context of queen bee mating flights and colony life, a retinue is a dedicated group of young worker bees that constantly surround, care for, and follow the queen bee. While the retinue is present throughout the queen's life, its formation is circular before, during, and after her mating flights to ensure she is healthy and ready to mate, or once returned, to spread her presence throughout the hive. The retinue is not passive. These workers are actively engaged in maintaining the queen. They're grooming her. Workers will groom the queen by touching her with their antennae, forelegs, and mouth parts. Feeding, they feed her royal jelly and other foods via mouth-to-mouth contact. Pheromone distribution. The bees are attracted by the queen mandibular pheromone. By touching her, they collect this scent and distribute it throughout the colony, signaling that the queen is healthy and present, protecting and guiding. They act as a living shield, guarding her as she moves along frames to lay the eggs. It said in relation to mating flights, attraction levels, virgin queens have a smaller retinue than mated queens because they produce less pheromone. Preparation before a mating flight, the retinue ensures the queen is nourished Post mating, when the queen returns from mating flight, the retinue is vital in helping to spread the new, stronger pheromone signature of a mated queen, laying queen, which is which is crucial for reducing worker anxiety. It said the size of it usually consists of 6 to 10 worker bees at a time. Though this can vary, the age of them or the workers are generally young nurse bees, and so on and so forth. But I'm not gonna lie, that had me confused there watching them. What we thought that they just can't make their mind up if they want to swarm or not, kind of thing. I forgot about them. Yeah, Hannah reminded me of, Lord, this a few years back, but we did name a colony mini trips, and undoubtedly we wasn't recognizing that, and that's what they was doing as well, was coming out with her as she's doing her orientation flight, and going on from there. So whether I confused you or gave you a little bit of knowledge, or it's something you already knew, appreciate you riding it out with us. But I thought it was pretty interesting. Like I say, it's kind of a common sense bit. I just honestly never thought about a queen in orientation. Usually, I'm thinking queen moves in with the swarm and nature goes from there, this and that. But kind of put a piece of the puzzle together of why are they doing this and for what reason. All right, back in the chat. Let me see what y'all carrying on about. Kimberly, good to see you, ma'am. Come on here. Ashley, oh, my bad. I've been reading to the class while they had their Walkmans in their ears, tapping their and eating ice cream and blueberry muffin. Yeah. Larry Moore. Yeah, I think he's going to fall for the Langstroth bit. I had my reservations on Langstroth and what he done there. Some people may not be happy with me, but I think let's just say he approved upon it. Like the deal. Let's see. But, all right, class dismissed. Thank y'all. Larry Moore said, oh, I'm eating something. Where are we at on time? Let's see. Boy, time flew by. I didn't even know we was that far into it. We can move on to food now. But my oldest brother sent me something on the Book of Faces this morning. And I sent one of them to Lee. I don't know if I sent both of them or not, but if not, I'll definitely send you this one here too. But sent me a couple little just quick recipes, this and that. Something different around the house. Well, he sent one, and it was Hawaiian rolls. Okay, you take a whole packet of them puppies, and you cut 2 slits on each row down through there. And then you stuff them puppies with mozzarella cheese, and you put you some minced garlic salt, butter, mix, and some parsley. Mix all that together with some softened butter, stick of butter that is soft. Yeah, then you smear it all over the top of them things with that mozzarella cheese on top of them puppies. Stick it in the oven at 400 degrees for how long was it? 12 minutes. And we tried it. Let me tell you what. Yeah, dip it in spaghetti sauce. And it makes like a homemade mozzarella garlic bread, if you will. Let me tell you what. That's pretty doggone good. And that's what I was telling her. Next time she does spaghetti or something along those lines, make these things for that. If you talk about some showing up good eating. Yeah, I was just fixing to read Buck's comment. Buck says, I've been seeing some old info on honeybees on YouTube videos. Very good info. I'm glad whoever done that because there are a lot of folks that enjoy. Well, let me just say, I'll speak for myself on it. I enjoy the history part of a lot of things and seeing what worked for the old timer and what didn't. Because them folks, they've been doing it for umpteen dozen years before we even thought about getting into new technology with beekeeping, if you will. And in many, many ways, there's still things that have even science stumped on how do we do this or how do we do that and maintain good bee health, so on and so forth. But I wish I could remember the name of that channel. The one that's been doing those, I think Bucks is talking about the same one. Doggone it. Anyhow, I know many of y'all seen it because I think I'm kind of chatting back and forth. Keith Larimore said he let me wait a minute, I got it right here on our page in the what you call it. That may be it. Okay, yeah, that's got to be it. Yeah. Traditional beekeeping. So, any of y'all interested in that? You like learning about the older parts? Man, there's all kind of stuff on there. What they looked at to recognize for. I think some of the latest ones was about brood and the best time to put add supers and some good old information on there. I'm not sure if it is or not, Mr. Dan. I know most like the videos I've seen of it is where I guess they are AI generated videos or pictures that they put together, this and that. But I don't know if they're AI generated far as the info. But I think they were getting a lot of theirs from I think some of the Bee Journal, and y'all don't hold me to it, but I think it was like the European Bee Journal as well. Let's see. Miss Kimberly said, I just want to thank the person or persons who suggested using OA last fall for about every 5 days. Well, my bees made it through the nasty winter of Illinois. My bees are doing beautifully. That's wonderful to hear, ma'am. Hopefully y'all get into a little better weather. I think some of y'all are supposed to kind of get in a heat wave up that way, or y'all been in one in the western parts of the country. No, I didn't. But I'll probably sit down and watch that puppy first thing, probably in the morning whenever I get up, start waking up before we got to head out for work. But I seen it was on the Hornets, and it had Noel, the old cat from across the pond over there. Yeah, Richard Noel, that's right. And I'm gonna get video of this for proof on so on and so forth. But it says it can be used with lemongrass. But we've been tinkering with it, and I know y'all heard us mention how we're probably going to try to see what the star of anise does, because going back to the old bee journal, that's what the old timers would use before. From my understanding, it was either 1960s or 1990s. I'm getting conflicting information on whenever lemongrass kind of started getting big in beekeeping, as far as a swarm lure. But we'll say in the last 40 to 60 years that lemongrass kind of started coming on the scene to be used as a attractant to your swarm traps. But we got to reading in the old bee journal several weeks back, and they was talking about whenever you're beelining, or how they would beeline back then, that they would use that oil of anise, or star of anise, as they call it, to draw bees to either a swarm trap, or if you were doing beelining, to figure out a scent, and the bees come back to that location. And if I remember right, somebody had said, I think Tom Seeley, y'all correct me if I'm wrong once again, but in one of his beelining videos, that's what he was using to as an attractant. Larimore, I don't know about back then, but it's definitely. Now, I mean, we got a huge bottle of Star of Anise for like $8 off Amazon. I mean, it'll last us the rest of our days, kind of thing. And a little bitty old jar of lemongrass oil was like 11 or $12 from a health store. Yeah, well, was it that cheap? Oh, well, it's a little bitty old jar for a little bit of lemongrass for, we'll say, about the same price there, because Hannah was telling me it was about $8 for a little bitty jar of lemongrass versus a huge jar. I forget how many. It's a big jar of the Star of Anise for the same price, pretty much quadruple the amount. But I've been tinkering with it, and one of the horizontal hives, the configuration is set up in both horizontal hives, as far as bee space, the whole shooting match. We got lemongrass in one, and we put the Star of Anise in another. Then all of our boxes that we cleaned up, and we got new wax covered foundation on. 4 of those boxes have got lemongrass in them. The remaining 20 or so, I put 2 drops, and I got a stack of deeps out there that is probably about 8 or 10 high. And I put 2 drops in the very top box up there. One drop on one side of the frame rest, and the same thing on the other side. Just close them up. And then I built 2 of the bigger swarm boxes, kind of like what Phillips got, or what Mr. Ed was doing a few weeks back. Built 2 of them, and I put the Star Anise in both of those as well. And y'all, it was crazy the amount of scouts that we had responding to that Star of Anise compared to the lemongrass. Now, it says lemongrass can be added with the Star of Anise if you want to hold on to the nasonal pheromone. But the Star of Anise, I mean, I was telling Larimore, it's done tenfold compared to just using lemongrass. And I'm not knocking lemongrass at all for a swarm lure. Works great. But I was just testing the waters, seeing what them old timers was using, and if it would actually even draw anything. And like I say, tenfold what we've seen in a response to scouts with the star of anise versus the lemongrass. So we're gonna keep tinkering with that a little bit more. I may do a mix of the lemongrass with the star anise because, granted, the lemongrass does give off more of the nasonol pheromone, which I think the nitrile and citral in it, however it goes, it was around like 85% mimicking the rate or mimicking the nasonol pheromone, what is in lemongrass. But the star of anise, y'all, I'm telling you, that stuff drew them in like a moth to a flame to every single box that we had out or that we got out here. They're still scouting them out. Now, can't say that we've had any swarms yet because the only swarm we've seen is that one come in here. But between the bees that we have at the house, they're not really drawing queen cells out yet. There's a whole bunch of cups like they practicing, getting ready to go, but no actual queen cells yet. So I'm curious to see how it's going to be with the star of anise alone and the lemongrass, but we're going to keep testing the waters to see how it goes and if it'll draw a good old swarm in. But I can tell you, it'll draw them scouts in like crazy. Mr. Ian, good to see you, man. Appreciate you dropping by, Captain. Hope y'all thawing out up there in the showing up North Country. Getting that combine going, yes, sir. Man said it's a fantastic sounding engine. 218 6-cylinder flat top. Basic. Easy to work on. But that's where we at with it, y'all. We just really waiting on the privet now. We need some rain. We're supposed to be getting some this week, hopefully, but we sure need some rain to take and liven everything up. This won't be too long. I'll say about 3 or 4 weeks, that privet ought to be cranking on up for us, and that'll be the beginning of one of the flows before the tallow gets to cranking up that end of May and into June. Mr. Russell Amon, I may do that. May do like a 40-60 mix on the lemongrass and that anise to see. We may just do 3 different kinds of traps and just do a lemongrass, a star of anise, and then anise with the lemongrass. But it says that anise, whether you use lemongrass or you use any other kind of swarm attractant, from what I was reading, that it can be added to any attractant that you have for swarms, especially if you're trying to mimic that nasonol pheromone. Buck says using the slum gum to coat the inside of traps also. I didn't use no slum gum, but I did have some. We had made a propolis tincture, I don't know, 2.5, 3 years ago. And I put a little bit of that in some of them little travel spray bottles. And in them newer boxes, I sprayed that propolis tincture in there around the wall areas, kind of heavy, this and that, to give it a little bit more of a smell of the bees had been there. Larry Moore, according to the weather, man, looks like folks at Georgia and who was it, Georgia and you folks up there in them Carolinas and along that way are going to be a little while without no rain. Oh, Bucks, it'll help. There's several people in here talk about using slum gum to put in their traps as well. I guess anything, any little extra you can put in there to draw their tails up to it to provoke them into moving in. That's what you want to do. Kimberly, if it's something you're interested in, like I said, whether you got Swarm Commander or you got, whoever else's swarm lure out there, it can be dialed in with that Star of Anise, but it's some potent smelling stuff. And all I've done is literally put 2 drops on the very top box, 1 drop on one side of the top bar and 1 drop on the other side of the top bar of the frame, or the frame rest of the frame there. And like I said, it's drawing them in, the scouts at least. But once again, Lord willing, we'll be cranking up on some swarm sales, because we did 2 splits the other week. I haven't checked on them yet. I'll probably let them go to the end of next week before I pop any lids to see if they've drawn out any queen cells in those splits. But we got four more colonies out there. Definitely want to split off of, but I don't want to split yet until I start seeing them at least drawing out queen cells versus cups. I get their practicing and all that, and the drones are just now kind of popping up pretty good around here, but I could be wrong, but I don't want to say the population of drones is up enough yet to get a very good, successful maiden flight. And granted, it could probably happen. There's enough out there, I imagine, between what we got and whatever's your feral bunch. But once I start seeing them bringing them queen cells all the way on out, for the most part, and that's when we're gonna go to splitting. Boom, 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 boom. Let it go. Oh, I'm sorry. That's it. Mr. Dan Weaver's got it there for you. Star of Anise. That's the correct spelling on it and everything. Like I said, on Amazon, it was a big bottle of it for like $7, and it'll last you 10 years. Because like I said, it's pretty potent, so you don't want to overload it too much. But at minimum, I would put 2 drops in there, and I baited them hives up over 2 weeks ago, and they're still just running to it like crazy. But once again, we're waiting on things to really start kicking off as far as them actually swarming to see, okay, are they drawn more to the nasonol pheromone combination, or can you just simply do it with the Star of Anise? You can't, imagine if you go to a health food store, or what do they call that around here? The health hub, health hut, but where you can buy, different essential oils and this and that. Imagine you could get it in there, but you're definitely going to get it cheaper off Amazon. That's all we did. 2-day shipping, boom, it was at the house. But I was digging into it a little bit further, and undoubtedly they do have it out as a spice on the spice racks, but it's in the flour form. It's not an oil. But if you just, imagine it probably holds the same smell if you want to do something real quick before you get your hands on the actual essential oil from it. most of your grocery stores probably have it in the spice aisle. It kind of looks like a star a little bit as far as what the flower looks like. You missed a whole class while you was out skipping school, Philip. We had class and everything. We got into controversy. Did Langstroth steal Zyersen's idea? Or did Dadant, was he trying to get in on it later on as well? Because Langstroth is the one that allegedly stole Zyersen's idea. But come to find out, when Langstroth was working on his, undoubtedly that Dadant bunch was also working on a hive as well. But I will say, let's see if I can get it to pop up. Oh, yeah, Philip, be sure to check out the chat while you're looking at everything on the replay. Man, I wish this doggone thing went that right. It won't move. Whatever. But what I was going to say about that, Dadant's configuration looks way more like what we deal with in Langstroth's nowadays. Because undoubtedly with Langstroth's first one, that box looked like it kind of like hinged up instead of being taken off. And you had several, looking at the picture, let's see if I can get Dadant's picture up there. Better do that one then. I mean Langstroth. Nope. But Langstroth's original idea, it looked like his frames wouldn't, no bigger than an 8-track. But you had a whole bunch of them in this box in that configuration. But looking at, or you can go on and look at the difference. Just Google, Langstroth's original design beehive, then look at Dadant's, and Dadant really has what we pretty well see in our yards today, except for it's like they had a landing for each super that they put on there. For what reason, I don't know, but somewhere along down the line and in history, they started backing off on them landed boards and just having a single bottom board coming in on it. Let's see. Well, Kimberly, hopefully y'all get on some good swarms. Rodney, he's kicking it off up there in the Carolinas. Keith Larimore's having another good year, starting out for him this year. His last few videos seem that, it looks like he's going to have another fantastic year of catching swarms there around his place. But for whatever reason, it ain't happening much in our neck of the woods yet. Let's see, Philip saying offset supers does work during the flow. That's what we did to the one colony I was talking earlier. I had taken, there was 2 double deeps, and I had just put our empty box in between them. Basically, bees on top, bees on bottom, nothing but freshly waxed foundation in the middle on that. And the way they was going far as backfilling and bringing in pollen, it kind of looked like we was going to have a good little old flow, if you will, leading up to if the privet does anything around here this year, which I'm sure hoping it does, because that's our first. If they can hit that privet flow good, that gives them all the ammunition they need to build out wonderfully. And then about the time that privet starts idling on down, within a couple of weeks, we'll get into that tallow flow. And that's what really bring it on for them to show enough, have the resources to fill everything that they've drawn out. But we'll see how it goes. But we sure need some rain. Well, it's like Philip kind of in the same situation. He said it went through 12 colonies yesterday, 12 today with 0 swarm cells. What about cups? Did you see quite a few new cups? Because they're working on the cups for sure, but not near one of them had any kind of royal jelly, egg, anything to them. Every one that I seen, that they was empty, polished up a little bit, but not a thing as far as a thriving queen cell. All right, a few cups, buku drone. Well, maybe in the next couple of weeks we'll be all on that same line. It's looking like I said, seeing the drones real good and heavy, but not in the ways of any actual queen cells yet. But we'll just see how it goes. Ain't going to rush the process. We'll take whatever the good Lord gives us. We'll go from there. All right, Laremore's seeing cups, but nothing loaded. Y'all bear with me. I'm just glancing at y'all's comments here. I can't remember how many. Let's see. All right. All right, Philip said I split as many old queens as it could find above a double screen board. Well, that's pretty good. Larry Moore said the man got 52 colonies and 70 nukes now. Hey, if anything swarms off that, I guess it's fair game. Don't let them get in trees. But Lord willing, we'll all have a better season. These last couple of years, we just ain't had no kind of flow or real good season at all. Just enough for them to sustain and make it through the winter for the most part, but it wasn't like our first year, second, and third year. Those first 3 years we had, I mean, we couldn't keep up with them. They was building out so fast. Getting honey bound, we trying to figure out what to do. Barely any equipment to keep up with them, this and that. And but these last year and year before last, what little bit we was in them, just didn't have any kind of good flow or any kind of good season at all. As far as, well, yeah. I think year before last was the cold snap that come in and killed off all the tallow. Then last year, it was so dry around here that just going into early season, the privet pretty well burned up anything they had out there besides wildflowers. I guess they typically don't get too much of, but they out there foraging on some of it. But Lord willing, it'll be a better season this year, and the weather will cooperate and everything will line up. Give it a try, Blaine. For what it's worth to any of y'all out there, I highly suggest it. Just try it alone. And if it does anything what it did here for y'all, it'll be like, okay, I'm definitely going to use this from here on out to at least get scouts to my box. Then you can figure out whatever pheromone you want to use to bring them in, whether you're using lemongrass or you're using swarm commander or Bob stuff or whatever you're using to bring swarms in. It definitely draws the scouts to them boxes. Well, DC, are y'all drying out over that way? Trying to keep up with some of this weather. It looked like y'all had another cold front and a bunch of rain over in your neck of the woods. Oh, I missed Larimore comment there. So how many of y'all doing the demo raid? Mike Tangway says he's doing it on 4 of them. Maybe something I'll yak about next week. Demery and his configuration on how he came up with all that. Get about that time of the year to, I guess, do a rewind on that. Several of y'all taking them between everybody else's chat, seeing a lot of y'all doing that demery. So who was it? Blaine, was it you that done some kind of configuration through CC Miller? Or was you doing demery? Mr. Dan says I'm too lazy for demery. Let's see if I got that. I think I got that bookmarked in one of these here. So I got day dance history. Let's see. Yep, there we go. Demery Bayou. See what that says real quick. Kill a few more. Yeah, we got just a few minutes. Let's see what I can bring up on that. We talked about that last year before last. Bear with me just a second. All right, here's a little piece of it. But it's a long read. But any of y'all interested in wanting to know the history on Demery and how he come up with that configuration, I'll let you know what it is. In the American Bee Journal, volume 31, number 11, March 16th, 1893. That gives the whole biography on Demery and how he come up with, how he got into beekeeping, how he come up with his method of stuff, and then it speaks of how a lot of his colonies did so well was he does like DC, and he had a roof covering them things either up alongside of a barn wall or something like that. But he had if I remember right in the story here, he talked about how he would cover his bees in their hives. But that's quite a long read, and I'll say for next week we'll yak about old G.W. Demery. I imagine if he's GW, it was one of them old timers being named after old George Washington. There's old Rodney. Did you get everybody settled in from that swarm catch a minute ago or earlier? Oh, has it? Well, I've been reading and not keeping up with the chat. My apologies. Stella's snoring. Jasper is waiting. No, Stella's over there snoring her tail off. Jasper's waiting for her to get out of his chair so he could go to bed because it's about bedtime for everybody. Well, DC, it's a good technique that you accidentally run on because undoubtedly one of the big names of beekeeping back in the day, old Demery there, done it to keep his colonies dry and out of the weather, especially in the wintertime. Larimore said, I think I stacked a colony wrong this week. I got brood on the bottom and top and my super in the middle. They got a little rowdy. And I packed and stacked. Man said, I'm out of here. Y'all have it. Y'all want to have a bad attitude? Figure it out, ladies. Don't feel bad, Larimore. We had to punish a colony last year. Put their butts to work. They had a bad attitude. We had a whole bunch of dirty old frames and this and that was sitting out. And they've calmed down a little bit, but it was pretty hostile whenever we got them here last year. One of them ones we got from Lance's up there. And I told Hannah, I said, I'm fixing to punish these girls. You got a bad attitude, I'm going to put your butt to work. And everything that we had as far as dirty frames, we put it on there. Y'all clean it out. And within a week or so, we had screen bottom boards on that thing. They cleaned it up and they did a fine job of it. But everything that they got out of there, undoubtedly, they dumped through that screen. And you could see little piles of wax and just trash and this and that they drug up out of there. But it kind of calmed their tails down a little bit. But I split their butts down the other day. That was the bunch I was telling y'all that we had. That's the first splits we done on, and I just stopped because I wasn't seeing any kind of loaded queen cells. And just now starting to see drones running around pretty good. Uh-oh, Philip said I got stung on top of my ear through the veil. Had to walk away, blurred my vision, and hurt like y'all know. She done got your tail good, didn't she? Mike Tangway, I'm kind of hoping that's what we got from that swarm that occupied that colony we was talking about earlier. The only thing I can assume, I haven't seen a queen dead on the ground, seen some workers where there was just a little bit of fighting going on, but it wasn't nothing crazy. Several dead drones. But I'm really hoping that by just an accidental if you will, that whenever I took that top box and stacked it on top again in between that empty tin frame, that we moved that queen up. And Lord willing, maybe it just worked out somehow to where she's up there on top, and that new virgin that keeps doing her orientation flights and mating flight, maybe she'll stay in the bottom, and we'll have another colony with dual queens in there, and we just let them go. That's what we did with our last one. We found 2 queens. Surprised us because there wasn't nothing separating them. But one was down in the bottom box and one was up in the top box up there. And how long they've been together like that, we couldn't tell you. But there was some sure enough healthy queens in there, and they have been laying between both boxes well. So, like, y'all been together this long, we ain't gonna call nobody. So carry on. Let's see, DC, my largest had 4 frames of cat brood. Then the next round should be close to full slab. Well, I hope so, man. Get you one of them inner covers that it's got the little notch cut out on them. I'm not a big fan of them, to be honest with you, because a lot of times I forget to push that lid up against the back of it right there to keep them from running out of the top. But if you're one of the ones that don't mind that, it's a good wrap to take, and you ain't got to worry about trying to separate them with a double screen board or anything like that. Well, DC, one of the best years we had, I was talking about a minute ago, is we had one of our springs. It literally rained every single day for about a month down here, and I'm talking about every day. And whenever that finally moved on out and quit, I guess the timing worked out just right with everything to fall together. But that was one of the best flows we had, was after all that rain. And now it wasn't downpours all the time. For the most part, it was just them good ground soaking to where it can actually take it in and absorb it instead of everything running off. But man, we had a fine season that year. There you go. Claremore says I got fence shims for summer. I can take the screen out. Bingo. But, well, y'all, I reckon we're going to wrap her on up. We're getting on into 9 o'clock. I know a lot of everybody got to get ready to go to work. We do. Tomorrow, begin to do things that the adults have got to do. Keep the lights on. Go make $1. But, let's see. Okay, I thought I missed somebody there. All right, DC said he likes the nail lids. Drone's got to have a way out. Indeed. All right, y'all. Till then, God bless you. Lord willing, we'll see you on the next one. Thank y'all very much for riding it out. But the vote was a go for next Sunday, so we'll see y'all for some good fellowship next Sunday, Easter. Hope y'all have a blessed week. Everybody stay safe if you're hitting them highways, this and that. But y'all take care.
Well, guess that's it for today. See you next time at Gunline Bees.